Let us bow before him and let us recite this together. May the utterance of my mouth and the deliberation of my heart be desirable before you, O Yahuwah, my rock, and my redeemer. May the utterance of my mouth and the deliberation of my heart be desirable before you, O Yahuwah, my rock, and my redeemer. And it is so. And it is so. We have just recited to him 19 and 14, and it is so. And it is so. All right. We appreciate the Abba for all that he's doing, all that he's done, and all that he's yet going to do in the lives of us, his people. Let us get into the writings. Let's turn our attention to Ezekiel chapter 38. And once again, to bring us up to speed, for those that may be tuning in for the first time, coming back in, you're trying to remember what we're talking about. We're talking about unmasking the end time beast. It is important that we understand these things. Why? Because of the time that we're in. And talking about the four kingdoms as follows. As we talked on last Sabbath concerning the Roman Empire, that it does not fit the description. I want to read this while you're turning there. While the fourth beast is unquestionably Rome, the language of the 7th and 23rd verses leave no doubt that it is the Roman Empire in its revived and future phase. Without endorsing the view of the Motlin, Brown, etc., it must be owned that there was nothing in the history of ancient Rome to correspond with the main characteristics of this beast, unless the symbolism used is to be very loosely interpreted: to devour the earth, tread it down, and break it in pieces. It is fairly descriptive of other empires, but ancient Rome was precisely the one power which added government to conquest. And instead of treading down and breaking in pieces, the nations it subdued sought rather to mold them to its own civilization and polity. All this and more might be added suggests that the entire vision of the 7th chapter may have a future reference, Now, he amazingly stated that the Middle East would be the area of the main conflict, and that the whole vision and the revived empire was future and doubtful to be Rome as seen in the past. So it's the fourth beast. The fourth beast was unquestionably Rome, but for the 7th time, or the 7th beast, which is also the 8th beast, it's not the Roman Empire. And that's one of the things that we have to come to grips with and come to understand. Now listen at this, just kind of going back over, we're going to go back to where we were talking about the four kingdoms. Now, Sir Robert Anderson makes his conclusion that Daniel 7 is strictly speaking of the end times empire that come at once. This is not Rome in character, because Romans added, once again, government to conquest. If you go back in history, you learn that Rome made governments. They didn't go and destroy and annihilate and just, utterly devastate. This is the linchpin. Islam does not add government to conquest. And wherever Islam has ruled in history, it has left that country in a state of turmoil, because Islamic law just cannot cope with democracy or the protocols that a civil society needs to live in. Islam today occupies the Middle Eastern Roman region. Also make note that Rome was a Mediterranean empire, not a Western European empire as most think. Now, Daniel 7:2 expressly names the Mediterranean, the Great Sea, as the scene of the conflict between the four beasts. Now, the last empire is to do three things. This is what the last empire is to do. Three things. The first is to devour the earth. The second is tread it down. And the third thing is to break in pieces. Now, we've all had a taste of the Islamic way. ISIS, the Taliban. And so it's important that we see these things and not reject them because of what we've been taught many years. It's important, once again, as I said, redirect. I woke up hearing that in my ruach today. It's time that we redirect our thinking and even our understanding of the writings. Because until we do that, we find ourselves doing what? Compassing the same mountain. And that's dangerous, because if we don't know where the enemy is coming from, then guess what might happen? If we don't side with the enemy, we might just end up getting caught in the crossfire. So it's important that we understand these things. Are y'all following me? All right. Now, these four kingdoms were as follows. That light's just a little bright. Thank you. All right. Now, Greek Macedonian region ruled by Cassander. Macedonia is an Islamic state presently. Number two, Thracia, Turkey region. Bulgaria and Turkey today, ruled by Lysimachus, and later called the Byzantine Empire, is Islamic. Remember, these are the four kingdoms were as follows. Babylonian, Persian region. Southern Russia, Islamic. Afghanistan, Islamic. Iran, Islamic. Syria, Islamic. Lebanon, Islamic. And all the coastland to the city of Tyre is Islamic. That is what is important for us to understand. It is what? Islamic. Okay, y'all follow me. Now, this region was also known as the Seleucid dynasty and ruled by Seleucus. These are all Islamic today. They're all what today?
Islamic.
They're all what today?
Islamic.
Islamic. That is what is so important. And as I told you beginning, you must understand that the Islamic people, the nation of Islam, have a tremendous hatred for us. Why do they have a hatred for us? Because at the core, you got to remember, everybody that's Islamic or claiming to be Islamic is not Arabian. And everybody that's claiming to be Arabian is not Arabian. But there are key things for us to understand. When you began to look at the life of Ishmael and Esau, you must understand these are two family members that came together and made a powerful unity, a powerful nation, a powerful people. This is family. This is family. This is Yaakov family. This is Abraham's family. And because we understand we are the descendants of Yaakov, then we know also that these people at the core are our family. And this is an ancient hatred because of birthright, because of who gets what. Now you got to understand there are other people involved. Yes, because as time goes on, you're going to have people that come and be a part of it. You're going to have people come and say, oh, we want to be a part of the religion, or we want to be because it's peace. But at the end of the day, and understanding what the core reason is, you must understand. And we go into what? Bereshit chapter 24. Chapter 24. Let's look at that. Let me check myself. Chapter 25 and 34 and 27 and 41. Let's read that real quick, because I want you to understand, once again, that ancient hatred stemmed from the actions that took place on the day that Esau ate. And it was that time that he began to hate his baby brother, which is also his twin brother. All right. Let's read that, please. 25 and 34. Somebody has it for me. have it. Okay. Anybody got it? All right. 25 and 34 and 27 and 41, please.
Sheet 25. Sheet chapter 25.
Verse 34.
Verse 34. And it reads, Yaakov then gave Esau bread and stew of lentils, and he ate and drank and rose up and left. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
All right. 27 and 41. I need to get that.
And Esau hated Yaakov because of the Baruch, wherewith his father Baruched him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Yaakov. And it is so.
And it is so. Now I want to read this to you as well as we continue to go over and understand what's taking place. In this book was an Egyptian claiming to be a Palestinian. The reason I'm reading that, and I want you to keep that in mind, because there are other things that I'm going to be bringing out in the near future, I'll be who are willing, concerning those that are in Yashar claiming to be Palestinians when they're not, and those that are Arabs that are actually Yasharites. They're claiming to be Arabs, but they're truly Yasharites, documented and all that great stuff. So it's important that we understand what's going on. Just like our people in the times and things that are happening now, many of them are getting scared and they're denouncing Yahushua and they're saying, well, ain't nothing really real and all this ain't right. And so we just going to defect and go be somewhere else. Many of them are becoming Muslims and many of them are going back into Christianity. You know how they say you have the undercover brothers? They are want to be one thing, but inwardly they're something else. But outwardly, you know, they project this image that they're all that, but inwardly they are hiding homosexuality and even women, lesbianism. You have those that operate just as that, but they say they're Hebrews outwardly, but inwardly they're Christians. Tell you why? Because they'll break their neck getting to church on Sunday, knowing that the sermon that's going to be preached is going to be about Jesus and you repenting and living for Jesus Christ, not Yahush, not Yahuwah, because truthfully, we don't live for Yahush, we live for Yahuwah. Yahush is our example, but they take all that credit and all the credence away from Abba Yahuwah, even stripped him of his name. But yet they go to church on the first day. Are y'all following me? So we don't want to be in that category. We don't want to be undercover in anything. We want to be openly showing people that we know who we are and we are not resisting Abba Yahuwah, because we know there is no point in resisting him.
That's right.
Nobody can resist him. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to resist him. All right. Now, Egypt's region, which is prophecy includes Libya and the Nubians, is also an Islamic region to Yam, ruled by Ptolemy. Ever wondered why Saddam went to Islamists? It's important that we understand, y'all. This is important for us as a people to understand. The closer we get to this stuff unfolding, the tighter it is going to become for us as a people. Right now, many people don't believe it because they don't feel like it's coming from that way. So their eyes are on Rome or on Roman Catholicism, which does not have the power, neither does it fit the characteristic in the writings. Not someone's personal opinion, but they do not fit the character. It's just like people going, and y'all know how they do it. They on the radio and they're chasing, guess what? A black man. What is the description? He's a black man with black pants on, a white t-shirt, and he has dreads. Isn't that the kind of the norm for many of our Hebrew people? But there is no real description. So you're giving a vague or just a general description. And that's where problems come in. Because if you really want to find someone, you're going to give the true description. They have on red tennis shoes, they have on black pants, and on the pocket, it has a dollar sign on it. And he's wearing a blue windbreaker, and he has dreads. Are y'all following me?
Right.
Because now you are giving a distinct description, and you are showing the person that did it, this is what they have on. Are y'all following me?
Right.
That's important. Once again, you have evidence, you have the evidence, you have the witness, and you also have, oh my goodness, I forgot just that quick. Evidence, proof, thank you. Evidence, proof, and you have your witnesses. Evidence, proof, and witnesses. You have them. And when you have all of them, that's the ingredients. Those are the ingredients for winning a case.
Sure.
For winning a case. You have to have the witnesses' testimonies. That's your proof. And then you have to have the evidence, not made up evidence, but evidence that can be substantiated through documentation. Word of mouth is great, but you want to make sure that that person or those persons' credit is great. Their credibility is trustworthy, because you're going to base it still off of information as well. All right, you're following me. Now, I told you to turn your attention to Ezekiel chapter 38. Why? Note that the anti-Mashiach will rise out of one of the four divisions of the Grecian Empire. No prophecy expert can deny this. This is likely to be a Turkish Muslim, as referred to by the God personality in Ezekiel chapter 38. Part of the Seleucid Empire also mentioned in Daniel chapter 11. So we're going to go look at Daniel chapter 11. But in Ezekiel chapter 38, we're going to look at verses 2 and 16. All right. Let's look at verses 2. Yeah, 2 and 16.
Verses 2 and 16, and it reads,
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. 2, verse 2. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Yes.
Got to finish reading. Anytime there's a comma, until it has a period, you got to keep reading.
And you shall see, thus says the Master Yahuwah, see, I am against you, O God, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal.
Okay. What's at the end of Tubal?
A period on that.
It's a period on yours?
Yes.
Verse 3?
Yes.
Okay, it reads on, pick up at 4, because it reads all the way to verse 6.
Okay. And I shall turn you around, and I shall put hooks into your jaws, and shall lead you out with all your army, horses and horsemen, clad perfectly, a great assembly with armor and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Cush, and Put are with them, all of them with shields and helmets. Gomer and all its bands, the house of Togarmah from the north and all its bands, many people with you.
And it is so. Now, let's jump to verse 16. Now, once again, this is giving a characteristic, or giving a the reference to. This is a reference to the personality of God in chapter 38. And then we're going to read a little bit of Daniel chapter 11, which is going to show us the personality, the character. And this is why and how you're able, once again, to determine if what is being said is valid or invalid. That's a key thing. Many times we just go off of what they said, this is what it is, but let's look at the character. Let's look at what were they doing. They say, yes, once again, he was a black man with a white t-shirt on, and he had jeans on, and he had red tennis shoes, but this is his character. He was aggressive. He was pulling, he was fighting, and he was doing this, and he should have a tear on his coat because he was being aggressive. A person that's aggressive are going to do one or two things. when they're fleeing the scene. They're going to run and try to hide, or they're going to run and they're going to be fighting everybody in their way because they're trying to get out. So you're looking for a person that is showing aggression. Once again, characteristics and when you're giving a description is important, because you could say a black man all day long, and 95% of the people that are out there walking around are Hebrew men called black men. Are y'all following? So that's too vague. That's too broad of a description. So when you're able to narrow it down and say, this is the characteristic, they're going to annihilate the earth, they're going to break, they're going to crumble. Then when you are able to start doing the process of elimination, then you're able to eliminate people maybe in the region, but they don't have the character. Are y'all following me? That's important. All right, let's look at verse 16, please.
And it reads, and you shall come up against my people, Israel, like a cloud, to cover the land. In the latter days it shall be. And I shall bring you against my land, in order that the nations know me, when I am set against you, O God, before their eyes. Is there a comma on here?
That's a period. Period.
Yes.
Yep.
And it is so.
All right, and it is so. Now, once again, and you shall come up against my people. Let's look at the reference for my people. This is in the future. And here indeed, Yahuwah refers to Yahshua as my people, and does not call any man-made church my people, but all man-made churches, listen at this, must be grafted into Yahshua to receive the definition of my people. Now, with that being said, let's look at that. Let's understand what's being said here. In order for that to be true, just like we were grafted in. Why were we grafted in? Because we understand, as when we were in the church, we understand that we're the chosen. But before we start walking in truth, we were walking in error. And because of that, and we were estranged from that, from the truth, we had to be grafted in. That's why it is important that we accept Yahushua as our Mashiach and as our kinsman redeemer. It is important that we understand that, because we came out of what? The church. 95% of our people are still locked into Christianity and believe that they're going to be raptured up out of here. Believe that they're going to, that Jesus is going to take them out of here, that they can continue to live the life they're living without keeping the Moed, without keeping the sacred days, without keeping the Sabbath rest. Many of them believe that these things have been done away because of being ill-informed, miseducated. So because they are miseducated, this is what they believe. And because they're still walking in this way, until they repent and come into truth, it's not going to change. To be grafted in, you have to accept and know. And this is not talking about everybody else. This is talking about Yahshua, not everybody else. Are y'all following me? Because we tend to try to want to put everybody on the branch and bring everybody into the tree. You cannot. Once again, this is where you get genetically modified food from. How's it genetically modified? They look at the genetics of the food. This is why you go and you can buy, excuse me, something got my throat a little scratchy. All right. Now, the important thing to understand, once again, is what's taking place. We are trying to engraft people that were never on the tree. It's just like trying to take a plum branch and graft it into a lemon tree. Two different types of fruit. Nonetheless, they are fruit. Trying to take an orange and trying to graft it into a lemon tree. They are fruit. Yes, they are. They are both fruit. They are both citrus fruit. But they are not the same kind of fruit. So you got to understand the opposite Yahush to round us up so that we could be grafted in through him. We become one man in Yahush. Are y'all following me?
Yeah.
What the problem comes in is when we're trying to get everybody else that has nothing to do with this tree, trying to graft them in. We're trying to graft them in. We're trying to find a space for them to be grafted in. And he told us specifically who would be grafted in. Are you hearing me? Yasharal, Yehuda, Ephraim. Are y'all following me? He gave specifically. He didn't say other nations. He said us as a people. And even if he makes a reference to other nations, you have to understand he's still talking about the 12 tribes of Yasharal. As I told you, we're in a time that Abba Yahuwah is redirecting and changing how we view things and how we see things, how we interpret things. No longer can you interpret things based upon your own personal interpretation. Are y'all following me? That is important because now it's so much stuff out here that if we're not careful, we will continue to walk in a place of deception and not even realize we've been deceived. That's the crazy thing. There's a place, I'm trying to think, it's in the mountains, and I'm trying to remember where it is, but it's a place where there's a lot of gas. And because gas is dense and it settles, gas is not rise, it settles. And in this place, animals like to travel in this place. It's in the mountains. I'm trying to remember because we watched the documentary, and I'm trying to remember. I know it's not in Arizona. I know it's nowhere here, but it's near the mountains. I believe it's near a volcano. And because gas is dense and it's heavy, it settles. And so because animals they crawl, they get into this area and they see all this food and they're thinking, wow, it's just a buffet. But they don't realize the reason why there's so many dead animals over there is because they suffocate. They suffocate. Gas is clear. You can't see it. And some gas you can't even smell. And they get there and they're trying to eat this food, being greedy. And they're trying to breathe and eat at the same time. And their wind is being cut off. But they're like, there's so much food. I can't leave this food. I must partake of it. Then next thing you know, they become another casualty of this gas because it can't be seen. Even though you see all these animals there, they continue to do it. But there was one Komodo dragon that went to eat. And every time he kept getting his wind cut off, and it finally got the sense in it, got some kind of something, came to his senses and got up out of there. Because it was like, do I die trying to eat this, or do I move on and catch another, fight for something else to eat? And the Komodo dragon ended up making it out because it made a decision, believe it or not, to leave that, even though it seemed easy, it was death. And they got up out of there and they lived. So it's important that we understand there are some things that you may not be able to see, and even some things you may not be able to sense right off. But if you see a lot of casualties and a lot of dead bodies, why stay there? In Abba Yahuwah is life, and that more abundantly. He didn't bring us into this truth to kill us. He brought us into it for us to live and to live an abundant life in him. Abundant does not always mean material things, because you got to understand the greatest thing that we could ever have is a relationship with him that is solid and healthy. That's the greatest thing and the most valuable and precious thing that we could ever have, because everything else will follow. All right, now, as we move on. Now, the angel, I'm sorry, let me back up. Daniel chapter 11. Let's look at a little bit. Once again, it's going to give us a little bit of the characteristic. We're going to read. This is about 45 verses. Let's see. All right, let's see. Everybody can read 5 verses because you can't just read 3 or 4 verses. You have to read all of it to get the fullness of the scriptures. All right, let's read. Everybody read 5 verses apiece. Okay.
And it reads, and in the first year of Darius of Mede, I myself stood up to support and protect him. And now I declare the truth to you. See, 3 more sovereigns are to rise in Persia, and the 4th is to become far richer than them all. And by his power, through his riches, he stirs up all against the rulership of Greece. And a mighty sovereign shall arise, and he shall rule with great authority, and do as he pleases. But when he has arisen, his rule shall be broken up and divided for the 4 winds of Shemaim, but not among his descendants, nor according to his authority with which he ruled, because his rule shall be uprooted, even for others besides him.
Excuse me. Key verse is verse 4. Are y'all listening? And so once again, let's keep geography. Let's keep all those in place, and let's continue to read. Once again, Daniel chapter 11 is also giving us a characteristic of Gog and showing us the Seleucid Empire is also mentioned in Daniel chapter 11. All right, let's finish reading. You read all the way to verse 5?
One more. 5.
Okay, one more.
And the sovereign of the south shall become strong, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong over him, and shall rule. His rule shall be a great rule. And it is so.
It is so. All right, let's read.
6 to 10.
Yes. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep.
After some years, they will make an agreement together. The southern king's daughter will go to the northern king to finalize the agreement, but she won't retain her great power. Neither will his power remain in place. In those times, she will be handed over, along with her escort, the one who fathered her, and the one who strengthened her. A branch from her roots will rise up in his place. Attacking the army, he will enter the walled fortress of the northern king. He will fight with them, and he will conquer. He will even carry off their gods to Egypt, along with their statues and their silver and gold equipment. For years he will avoid the northern king. Then the northern king will attack the kingdom of the southern king, but will return to his own land. His sons will get ready for war, gathering massive forces. Their attack will be like an overwhelming flood, and they will attack again, taking the battle as far as his walled fortress. And it is so.
And it is so. All right, let's read 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, let's read.
Verse 11 reads, the southern king, in a bitter rage, will come out to battle the northern king. He will muster a huge army, but the army will be handed over to his enemy. When the army is carried off, he will become confident. He will kill tens of thousands, but he will not stand strong. The northern kingdom will then muster another army, this one bigger than the first. After some years have passed, he will attack with a large and well-equipped army. In those times, many will oppose the southern kingdom. Violent persons from among your people will also rise up to support the vision, but they will fail. When the northern king attacks, he will throw up a siege ramp and occupy a walled city. The southern forces will not be able to resist, not even its elite forces. No one will be strong enough to resist, and it is so.
And it is so, to withstand him. Now listen at this. The southern kingdom, even with its best troops, will not stand the forces of the anti-Mashiach. That's important for us to understand. All right, let's read 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20.
the invader will do as he pleases. No one will be able to stand against him. He will establish himself in the beautiful land and will have the power to destroy it. He will determine to come with the might of his entire kingdom. He will make an alliance with the king of the south. He will give him a daughter in marriage in order to overthrow the kingdom, but his plans will not succeed to help him. Then he will turn his attention to the coastlands and will take many of them. But a commander will put an end to his insolence and will turn his insolence back upon him. After this, he will turn back toward the fortresses of his own country, but will stumble and fall to be seen no more. Successor will send out a tax collector to maintain the royal splendor. In a few years, however, you will be destroyed, yet not in anger or in battle. And it is so.
And it is so. All right. Now, verse 16. But he that comes against him shall do according to his own will, and none shall stand before him, and he shall stand in the glorious land with destruction in his hands. The king of the north will enter Yasharal, thinking he can destroy Yasharal, but he will not succeed, though he will capture half of Jerusalem. All right, let's listen once again. This is the description. This is what Daniel is talking about. All right, let's read 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
And in his place shall stand up a vile person, to whom the esteem of the kingdom is not conferred. But he shall come in through deceit in a time of prosperity, and obtain the kingdom by flattery. Armies will be defeated suddenly, and shall be broken. Yes, also the prince of the covenant. And after the covenant made with him, he shall work deceitfully, for he shall come up, and shall become strong with a small people. He shall enter peaceably even upon the fattest places of the province or state. And he shall do that which his Abbas have not done, nor his Abbas or his Abbas' Abbas. He shall distribute spoil and riches and property to his followers against the strongholds, but not for long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 25.
Mm-hmm.
And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army. And the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very large and strong army. But he shall fail because of the plans established against him in battle.
All right, and it is so. Now, let us turn our attention back to verse 24. He shall enter peaceably even upon the fattest places of the province state, and he shall do that which his Abbas have not done, nor his Abbas. He shall distribute spoil and riches and prosperity and property. I'm sorry, excuse me, to his followers. Yes, and he shall devise plans against the stronghold, but not for long. Now let's look at that word, the fattest. In here, the fattest place in Strong's H4924, Mashman, root word is shemen, that is oil and province or district. The Hebrew word Medina, Strong's H4 or H4082, Yasharal has been restored in the last days for this prophecy to be fulfilled. Just as in the Hebrew, it says the fattest province. The Hebrew words used for Yasharal to Yom are Medinat el Yasharal. The word Medina can also mean a state, province, or a range of locations, and Yasharal fits the description and prophecy yet to take place when the Muslim anti-Mashiach will try to take over Jerusalem, but only succeed in taking East Jerusalem. So once again, we're given a description. We're given what to look for in the future. Are you hearing me? Future references. All right, let's finish reading. Verse 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
So, 26 to 30.
Yes.
And those who have been eating his food shall destroy him, and his army be swept away, and many fall down slain. And both these sovereigns' hearts are to do evil and speak lies at the same table, but not prosper. For the end is still for an appointed time.
Mm-hmm. Read that part again. Excuse me. Read that part again.
For the end is still for an appointed time.
So the end is still for an appointed time. So it was not during that time that these certain things were to be fulfilled. Future. All right, let's finish reading.
Verse 28. Then he shall return to his land with much supplies, and his heart be against the set apart covenant. And he shall act and shall return to his land. Verse 29. At the appointed time he shall return and go toward the south, but it shall not be like the former or the latter. Verse 30. For the ships from Kittim shall come against him, and shall lose heart, and shall return in rage against the set apart covenant, and shall act and return, and consider those who forsake the set apart covenant. And it is so.
It is so. Now watch this. And he will return and esteem those who forsake the set apart covenant. So he's going to give credence to those that do not keep the covenant. All right, let's read 31, 32, 33, 34, 35.
And it is so.
Okay.
31 to 35.
Mm-hmm.
An arm shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that makes desolate. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their power shall be strong and do exploits. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by the sword and by flame, by captivity and by spoil, many days. Now when they shall fall, they shall be holpen with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries. Verse 35. And some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. And it is so.
And it is so. Once again, it's important that we listen to what the writings are saying. And yet it is for an appointed time. Now look, we used to always quote this scripture, they that know their God shall do great exploits. Not realizing really what that was meaning. Once again, now look at 34. Now when they shall fall, they shall be granted with little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries. They're going to be basically taken because of them being flattered. You know, when people flatter you, they tell you all kind of stuff just to blow your head up. And some of them of understanding shall fall. Some of them that have an understanding shall fall, to try them and to purge and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. Now you have to understand, this is what they were doing then. Now think about what they're going to be doing even in the future. You remember the vision that Jaden had? How many of them, my son had a powerful vision. And in time, I'm going to let him share that vision, right? Yeah, because it's a vision. Don't forget visions. It's a vision. And it talks, and in that vision, he is, the malak that shows him, and it is very vivid. And you can't help but feel it and know that this is a time of urgency for us to make a decision on who we're going to serve.
Time.
That is important for us to understand. Are you hearing me?
Time.
All right. Now, once again, it's important that we see these things. All right. Verse 36. Let's read 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. That's fine.
And it reads, and the sovereign shall do as he pleases, and exalt himself, and show himself to be great above every mighty one, and speak incredible matters against power of mighty ones, against the power of mighty ones, and shall prosper until the wrath has been accomplished. For what has been decreed shall be done. And have no regard for the mighty ones of his father, nor for the desire of women, nor have regard for any mighty one, but exalt himself above them all. But in his place he shall give esteem to a mighty one of strongholds, and to a mighty one which his fathers did not know. He shall give esteem with gold and silver, with precious stones and costly gifts.
Mhm.
And he shall act against the strongest strongholds with a foreign mighty one, which he shall acknowledge. He shall increase in esteem and cause them to rule over many and divide the land for gain. Verse 40. At the time of the end, the sovereign of the south shall push at him, and the sovereign of the north rush against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and with horsemen and with many ships. He shall enter the lands, and shall overflow and pass over,
Okay, keep reading.
and shall enter the splendid land, and many shall stumble. But these escape from his hand, Edom and Moab, and the chief of the sons of Ammon.
And it is so. All right, let's look at mighty ones. Neither shall he regard mighty ones and his Abba, nor the desire of women of leading worship, nor regard any power, for he shall magnify himself above all. Many mighty ones, false gods, he shall worship the Muslim Allah, and not like his fourth, and not singular, as many Bibles make this mistake in translation. In Islam, excuse me, women have no voice and are not allowed to stand to speak, conduct worship, or hold positions of authority. In the mosque, all this verse means they lack religious authority both in and out of the mosque. Once again, giving us a description of the Islamic nation. Once again, this is Allah, the power of many mosques. The anti-Mashiach will worship Allah. That is the whole, and that is their mission. It is to change everybody that's walking in truth or walking in some form of religion to the way of Islam, because everybody's infidels but them.
Right.
Nobody's an infidel but them, because they've taken on that mentality that we have to come in and change everybody because we are the chosen. Now, so you got to understand. Now, let's look at it this way. As the children of Yahshua, we're supposed to be showing the nation and showing everybody that we are the chosen. Wisdom abides in us. Understanding abides in us. And we have the authority to build or to destroy. But see, you got to understand what they are doing. I'm not going to say we're supposed to be doing, because we're not supposed to be trying to bring everybody in this way of life, but we are supposed to be making everybody aware and conscious that there is a power and we are his people, and they are to esteem him. Do you hear me? They are to esteem him, to high him, to honor him, or to esteem him in high regard. Many times people are trying to bring him in to worship. That's not so. But we are to show the nation, show the world that we are his chosen and he is to be regarded. You got so many people out there that's claiming to be atheists. You got people out there claiming to be Buddhists. These same people, we're not asking them to worship Abba Yahuwah. We're not even asking them to come and be a part. But what we are asking them, and we are telling them, is that you are going to acknowledge that he is sovereign and that he is the power of this universe. And he has a set people, and we are that people, and we are to live a life before them. That is what we're supposed to do. But you got to understand, this universal way came in through Roman Catholicism, that now we're supposed to win the whole world. Everybody's supposed to be saved. Everybody's supposed to be born again. That's not so. Look at it. Roman Catholicism brought that in. Because the true Gentiles are the lost sheep of Yahshua. I know that's a hard pill for many people to swallow, because they think everybody else is a Gentile. No, we are the lost sheep of Yahshua. We lost our identity because of our ancestors' disobedience. Oh my goodness. Go ahead and give me the witness. Because we lost our identity. But now that we are in truth, we're no longer Gentiles. But we are now operating and functioning as the people of Yahshua. We don't know exactly how to do everything like our tribes did, but we do know enough to keep the Sabbath rest, to keep the Moed, and to research and to pray above all on how we are to live according to our tribal status. That's what we're supposed to do. Because you have to remember, once again, he called us. It's not that Abba Yahuwah didn't recognize and know other nations, but he called us above everybody else. Everybody else. So we got a lot of work to do in a little bit of time. Once again, I'm not out here trying to tell everybody to be saved. I'm just after the prostituting sheep of Yahshua. That's who I'm after. All right, let's finish reading. She said, yeah, that's my hype man. All right, let's read 41, 42, 43, 44, 45.
He will invade the beautiful country, and tens of thousands will die. But Edom, Moab, and the best of the Ammonites will escape from his hand. He will extend his power into other countries. Even Egypt won't escape. He will take control of Egypt's hidden treasures and gold, silver, and all its precious things. Libyans and Cushites will follow at his feet. But reports from the east and north will alarm him. And in a great rage, he will set off to devastate and destroy many. He will pitch his royal tents between the sea and the beautiful set-apart mountain, but he will come to his end, and no one will help him.
And it is so. Now listen at this. Shall submit to him. Verse 43. And the Libyans and the Cushite Sudanese shall submit to him. And then you jump down to 45. And he shall pitch the tents of his palace between the seas. Now listen at this. In this footnote, the anti-Mashiach forces will overthrow Mitzrayim, but the countries such as Libya and Sudan will esteem him and submit to him in submission as to Islam and his superior power. They will believe he has been sent by Allah to wage war on Yahshua and the apostate Muslim countries like Mitzrayim, who is seen as apostate because they made peace with Yahshua with a treaty. That's important to look at. Are y'all following me? And it is, if you look it up, they did make a peace treaty. Now, the Dead Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. Now, once again, you can't find Roman Catholicism in that at all, can you? It doesn't fit the character. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. Now, the angel revealed the last empire as, and it's identified by showing us that the next empire that is to come, which we know was Islam after the Roman conquest. The Islamic Empire defeated the Roman Empire, so the angel was talking about Islam. If we read above, it says he is not that he was not revealed yet, and is not means is not Rome. I'll read that again. He says is himself also the eighth, and is of the seventh, and is going to perdition. If we read above, it says he not, or he is not. That is, he was not revealed yet, and is not means is not Rome either. In other words, he's not revealed, and it's not Rome either. He's not revealed, and it is not Rome either, but he has been revealed. At that time, he was not. Are y'all following me? Some things we already know that we can put together. All right. The Muslim Empire is also returning as the eighth empire. So we need to pay attention to the text and not go with the crowd who wants to make this a Roman Pope or a Jewish Messiah. The eighth is of the seventh and is going to cause much trouble in the world. He will be judged to be cast into the lake of fire. Once again, and he is going to cause much trouble in the world. So we might as well get ready for what? What? Much trouble. Much trouble. Much trouble. All right, I'm trying to see if I can get to the latter part of this. Let me see. I'm going to see if we can make it. All right. Revelation 17 and 12 says, and the 10 horns, yeah, go there while I'm reading it. Revelation 17 and 12 says, and the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings who have received no kingdom as yet, but they receive authority for 1 hour as kings with the beast. With the beast. This indicates that there will be 10 kings involved who will give their allegiance to the beast kingdom empire. Logically, these will have to be Islamic nations who will support this empire, though it could incorporate a non-Islamic nation, but that seems hardly likely considering the number of Islamic nations that vehemently hate Yasharo. If we start adding up the official Arab Muslim nations alone, we can find enough to qualify for this task. And we have gone because we have seen all those that are Muslim. Are y'all following? All right. Now, we're going to stop at verse 13. These are of one mind. Somebody say one mind.
One mind.
Say it again, one mind.
One mind.
These are of one mind, and they will give their power and authority to the beast. These will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, for he is master and King of kings. And those who are with him are called chosen and trustworthy. Some are rendering say faithful. But we understand trustworthy because we have made a decision that in spite of what goes on, whatever takes place, that we are going to stand and we're going to continue to be who he has called us to be, and that is his chosen. Now, with that being said, there is a lot more that has to be brought forth. I want to stop right here. And I want to stop right here because I want you to digest everything that I've already said. For the four kingdoms, I was reading Daniel chapter 11 and then reading Ezekiel chapter 38. Digest that. Once again, research it. Research to the Roman Catholic way. And Rome is going to be the one that does this. And Rome is not going to be the one that brings it. It is imperative that we understand that Rome is not going to be the one. In spite of the many years we've been taught this and we were told this in Christianity, it is now once again time to redirect, change our way of thinking and our way of studying. And really, truthfully, and above all, when we are studying and when we are seeking these things, pray. Pray and be still and get the answer. Sometimes it's an unction. Sometimes it is a vocal or a verbal answer. But whatever it is, make sure that it is of the Abba. Because we've been deceived and we've been misled long enough, and we need not be deceived and misled any longer. So it's imperative that we listen and follow the truth. Are y'all following me? All right. We're going to stop there. But I want you to give me 10 minutes. Give me just 10 minutes of your time. Give me 10 more minutes. No, I'm going to say 15 minutes more of your time. Can you hear that? 15 minutes of your time. And the reason I want to talk on this is because I've been studying and I've been really looking at African Holistic Health by Layla O. Africa, who has become one of my favorite homeopathic holistic health teachers. He, in my opinion, stood second to none. Did I agree with everything he said? No. Qualified to talk on certain things concerning us as a people. Now, what I want to talk to you, because I've been reading this and studying this, and the Abba had it on my heart, and I was going to type it, but I said, this is a lot of stuff. And many times when you put stuff in the on your story or on your page, sometimes it gets blown by, because sometimes many people don't want to listen or they don't want to read. So I said no. I said I'm going to take a few minutes during Sabbath class. I know we got on to what seemed to many late, but you got to understand something. Before we come on, we have our discussion. We have our table discussion where we're talking about current events, and we're talking about other things before we come online. So we are getting information, some stuff. You know how they have, what is it, the patron accounts when you're on YouTube, Patreon on YouTube. Well, the congregation gets that privilege. So there's certain things I'm talking to them about before we come on. And so we're dealing with those different things. But this is something that I wanted to present to you before we close out, because maybe you have a loved one, or maybe you yourself have been considering, using marijuana as a means to, as a homeopathic, maybe as a medicine, or what have you, or somebody that has been using it, and you're wondering why they have these strange characteristics or these things that are happening to them. I don't know if everybody does, but we listen to Cat Williams. He can be crude at times, but Cat Williams is a comedian. I know some of you know him and some of you may not. But one of the things that he constantly talks about is smoking marijuana. Constantly. But if you notice on the flip side of that, he's always talking about him going through bouts of what? Depression. Fighting being depressed. Fighting, I feel like I can't get through this. And he's always talking about these things, not knowing how he's going to make it. Y'all, these are the characteristics of addiction, and not just addiction, but of a clone marijuana. Clone. Now, like I said, give me your ear for 15 minutes. 15 minutes. I'm going to read this. Marijuana, cannabis sativa. I'm saying that right, right? All right. Marijuana is a plant in the grass family and is classified as a weed. It has some limited curative properties. And as a curative, it must be drank as a tea, used as a poultice, or eaten raw. Interesting to note, as a food, raw marijuana is difficult to digest because people are not natural grass eaters. So you can't just eat it naturally. Humans lack the large flat molar teeth and the 3 stomachs found in natural grass eaters. However, the plant mineral content is good for lung disease. When marijuana is burnt and smoked, it is transformed into a processed toxic chemical with cancerous, deadly oils. The synthetic chemical droplets in marijuana smoke are a depressant. They depress the bodily function and nerve activity, lessens the heart action, dulls thinking, lessens muscle contraction, lessens frequency and depth of breathing, decreases gland secretions, prostate, thyroid, pituitary, etc., and increases the aging process. Now, y'all hear me? Now, this is from a doctor. This is not from somebody, that's just off the street. This is from a true medical professor who's gone on and so forth. But he left us a legacy of great information. Great information. Now, listen at this. Tiny droplets of chemicals in the smoke of marijuana directly weakens the liver, lungs, brain, eyes, and sex organs. Produces low quality and quantity of sperm. And the majority of people smoke are what? Black brothers, Hebrews. Now, you can't tell me that this was not a direct assault against us, because if they can't get us in one way, then they're going to get us another way. Y'all stick with me, don't quit me. It alters the breath and rhythm of internal organs. Marijuana synthetic chemicals disorientate cellular control of the body. The low fat way of this, okay, that's another book. I'm gonna skip that. The tiny droplets of chemicals in marijuana smoke reduces the sperm count and damages the nerve receptor site. The tiny droplets of chemicals in smoke contain more cancer-causing chemicals than tobacco smoke. Now, y'all got to understand something. That's a lot. When I was growing up, and people in my family that smoked it, they would smoke it and keep on going. You never heard about cancer, you know about cigarettes, but marijuana at that time, you didn't hear about it causing, problems. Okay. Emphysema, lung cancer, bronchitis, related disease that once only affected tobacco smokers are common in marijuana smokers. The chemicals in marijuana smoke can cause scarring of the lung tissue, and the oil droplets of chemicals in the smoke clogs the lungs. This reduces oxygen to the cells, tissue, and organs such as the liver, reduces oxygen to the liver, causes weak digestive enzyme fluid, reduces mineral absorption, disrupt hormone balance, weakens the pancreas and thyroid, and decreases the nutrients to the brain. The bitter oils stimulate the appetite. Ooh, I got the munchies. Y'all, when we were growing up, and like I said, and family that was close by that was smoking, you didn't hear them talking about they had no munchies. They would just be mellow, smoking, going about their way. There was no addiction like it is now. There was no all this, stuff that's happening. Now watch this. Now tell me, if you know somebody with this, we're going to get to the I'm not over there yet. The addiction part. Let me finish reading this. I don't want to get past myself, but I want to hurry up and read it. Now, the new high-tech plants, listen at this, the new high-tech plants contains 200% more, of this tetrahydrocannabinol, THC. It is not the same marijuana of 20 or 30 years ago. 20 or 30 years ago, I was 20 something. But watch this. When you go back further, I was a little girl. We didn't have those issues when they was messing around. Even I smoked some marijuana back then. Not now. Not now. But back in my early days, I would smoke it. I smoked it a little bit. But the stuff you see now, it's going to scare you half to death. Why would you want to put that in your mouth? But understand something, y'all. If they can't get us one way, then they're going to try to find another way. And this was the best way to do it. The best way to do it. Why? Now it's legal.
Right.
This is the question. Why would they make it legal for us to smoke it if it's good for you? If it's good for you or great for you, they're not going to let you get it. Back then, you had to get it from reliable sources, or you grew it your own, grew it yourself. And I knew people with plenty of the plants. Are you following me? But y'all, listen to what I am saying. This is imperative, very important. Once again, it's not the same thing. Now listen at this. It is a clone and hybridized plant concoction. Concoction. That means it is other stuff. It's GMO, genetically altered and modified. Watch this. It is not natural. Those that grow their own plants, listen at this, do not research the origin of the cloned seeds. So even somebody said, well, I'm growing my own, but if you don't know where your seeds come from and you're buying it from the government, you buying some messed up stuff. You need heirloom marijuana seeds. You need them, that's somewhere in the mainstream. I'm not telling you to go buy it from there, but I'm just saying, if you are, don't buy that's like going buying knockoffs. You buy me some Nikes, and then when the label comes off, you be like, this ain't no Nikes. It don't smell right. You're absolutely right. It doesn't smell right. Now listen at this. They grow them in synthetic fertilized soil or nutrient depleted soil. If you try to grow some in depleted soil, it's not going to do right. The private growers do not test the soil and groundwater for contamination or toxic chemicals. Marijuana is deliberately bred to be addictive and can result in mild, severe, or delayed withdrawal symptoms. It is deliberately, people thought, cocaine, heroin. No, because back in the day, people would smoke marijuana and go on. Now people have a bill for it. Weekly, daily, monthly. Somebody said that's not addiction. If you got to have a time where you smoke it all the time, that's an addiction.
Right.
That's an addiction. I don't care if you do it one time, the same time every month. That's an addiction. Now listen at this. Some of the symptoms of withdrawal are chills, anxiety, food cravings related to liver damage, headaches, temper tantrums. I know people that have temper tantrums, diarrhea, hot flashes, apathy, family and relationship problems, family and relationship problems, hypersensitivity, mood swings, tremors, excessive talking, sleeplessness, and illusions about self-worth. Y'all, I know people
Yeah.
that fit this characteristic. Stop it here. All right, now marijuana. Listen at this, y'all. Addiction, and then we're going to look at the effects on the spirit. Listen to this, y'all. The addiction. The effect that smoke from burnt marijuana gives is a chemically addicting state. The synthetic chemicals in the smoke cause sickness and malnutrition of the body. Marijuana causes the body to malfunction and biochemistry to be sickly, block nerve receptor sites, decreases oxygen, and increases waste in cells. The tiny poisonous oil drops within the smoke gums the lymph fluid, hormones, red and white blood cells, and corpuscles. I think that's how you say that. Corpuscles. Corpuscles. The self-induced sickness is called feeling good. Y'all heard that? I'm gonna read that again. The self-induced sickness is called feeling good. Yes, right. When I read that, I was like, oh my goodness. The self-induced sickness is called feeling good. This malnutrition or dis-ease state, depression, is commonly called a high. So when people get high, it's a state of depression off of marijuana. The synthetic chemicals in marijuana smoke creates mental, emotional, behavioral, and physical dependency. Dependency behavior can mean smoking once a day, once a week, once a month, or once a year. The regularity of smoking the chemicals in marijuana reflects the individuality of the addicted person. Synthetic chemicals made from marijuana smoke is addicting and causes the marijuana to freely control and alter the mind, mood, and behavior of the addict. Y'all hearing it?
Yeah.
That's why we can't afford to play with it.
Right.
We can't afford to get this because, once again, it's addictive. And now they put it on the shelf and made it legal. And guess who buys it? And guess who grows the majority of it? We do. Somebody would say, well, not all the time. Yes, we do, because you got people walking the truth that smoke it and believe it's okay and will justify, well, it's an herb. But that's an herb that's messing you up.
Right.
That's a nerve that's messing you up, no matter who you are. Now, marijuana affects the spirit. Burnt, cooked marijuana is a chemical that alters the attachment of the spirit to the breath. It causes the spirit to lose its guiding effect on the mind, mood, and body. It can alter or destroy levels of spirituality. That's why they put it out there. That's powerful.
Right.
Because now you become addicted and you cannot control yourself.
Right.
And you know people that have mood swings that mess with this stuff. And not only that, I gotta have my weed. I gotta have it. If it ain't nothing but at least once a month, I gotta have it. If you have to have it, you are addicted. And you need to get off of it. And if you need to get off of it, I got just the herb. So if you need to get off of it, you need to DM me. You need to let me know. And if you have family or friends, you need to tell them to get off of it immediately. Now you got to understand something. This book was written some years ago, before it was even legalized. Now it's legalized. They're not worried about. You wonder why people go. Now watch this. You wonder why people go into these fits or these rages, and people wonder why our people going through certain things. Yo, you don't know if they just smoked a blunt or not.
Right.
They're not going to tell you that. Why? Because if they tell you before they went and did what they did, you know, they had smoked the blunt, and this threw them off and got them all messed up. And this is why they carried out the actions they carried out. They're not going to tell you that. Why? Because they don't want an excuse or a reason, a real valid reason to why they were acting the way they were, so that they can continue to control and kill our people.
Mhm.
It's an excuse. Well, they were acting this way, so we had to take them out. Well, why? And what made them act that way? Are y'all following me?
Right.
So if you know anybody, or you suspect anybody, or you were even thinking about, taking a gamble and trying it out for yourself, don't. If they prescribe it to you, ask them to prescribe you something else, because you don't want that. You don't want to add to the situation or whatever that's already going on. It's addictive, and you don't want to be addicted to it. And so I wanted to share that with you once again, because that has been on my heart to share. And like I said, it was a lot to type up, and I didn't want to just type it up. I know with this way, those that'll come and listen, or they won't, or they'll say, well, at least, you put it out there. So it's out here for us to know. And once again, the reason I want to put it out there is because so many of our people are doing it. Yes. And like I say, I concur. It smells stink. It smells like a skunk. That stuff smells horrible. There was a time, and like I say, back in the day, before I was in truth and before I knew anything about truth or even in Christianity, it smelled good. It had a nice smell to it. It was sweet. And it was one of those things that you did, but you could walk away from it. Now people cannot. People are losing weight. They look sickly, and they think they're healthy. Why? Because you got to understand, what are you putting in your body? What are you putting in your body? So it's important that we find a better way. There is a better way for us, and we can do that. And we don't have to rely on these things. Once again, if it was about 30 or 40 years back, you wouldn't have to worry about this. But it's cloned, and it's 200% more of the THC. That causes a person to lose their mind. And you wonder why people, like say, having relationship issues. Ask what is the most thing they put in their body? What is it that they do consistently besides drinking water and eating food? They got to have that smoke. And that smoke is killing them. And I truly believe with all my heart, it was designed to destroy us. If they can't get us one way, then they're going to definitely come up with another way. So once again, I pray you share this information with those that will be willing to accept it. And even if they don't, still tell them now, you have just given them information to either free themselves or to continue to walk in bondage, knowing what this stuff can do to you. So once again, y'all, let's walk in freedom, and let's walk in the truth, and let's truly learn to do differently. Do differently. Are y'all following it? Let's learn to, move in another direction so that we can get things accomplished. Are y'all following it? Once again, keep your head up, keep your shoulders squared, and keep your heart and your feet in and upon the Torah, because you can't go wrong when you keep Abba Yahuwah at the center of your life. You can't go wrong. He is our shalom, and he will keep us, and he will give us the things we need. Watch this, to do this body well. He'll do it. Yes, there are times that can be stressful. I just want to put this out. But even in the times of stress, he still has other things that we can take that are not evasive to your body. Things that will not have you out here wondering what's wrong with you. Y'all, medicine can be a great thing, and it can be a dangerous thing. A dangerous thing if you don't know what you're doing. You take too much of the wrong thing, even though it's a great thing. That's gonna have you thinking you're losing your mind. And I ain't talking about seeing little green men. You be really sitting there thinking on some real stuff, and you be trying to figure out, okay, what is going on here? So I'm encouraging you as I'm on my quest here with my daughter and my other daughters to truly understand a better way for us as a people, and to get in touch with your body, because you know what your body is saying, because your body is going to talk to you. Now, what your body says to you, it is up to you to convey to the person you're trying to get help. And I can tell you now, you go to a white physician. Now, hear me well, and I'm really about to close. They're not going to understand what you're trying to tell them, because they're going to only diagnose you based upon how they have been taught, and that is to treat the European body. They assign you all this stuff to destroy the antibiotics that are already in your body. You don't need that if you're already sick. You need something that's going to build your immune system, not tear it down and then build it back up again. That's like me going out in the rain to get an umbrella and coming back in talking about now I'm gonna go back out and you all soaking wet. That makes no sense. So it's important that we understand these things. But once again, that is just one thing. I know I've been kind of missing an action in some areas, but I want y'all to know I've been missing an action because once again, I've been doing studying. I've been studying the African holistic way of life. I've been studying the word. I've been doing my due diligence. So whatever I bring to you, I'm bringing to you a full, able to be fleshed out material. Because I never like to give somebody something and not be able to give you the fullness of what I'm talking about. So it's important, once again, let us use wisdom and let us truly be sensitive in this hour to one, the Ruach, and be sensitive to your body. Listen to what your body is saying to you, and you'll be able to be better and do better if you do those things. Once again, I appreciate the Abba for your time. I appreciate the Abba for this time. Keep your head up, keep your shoulders squared, and keep your heart and your feet in and upon the Torah, because you can't go wrong when you keep the Torah first. I am Aliyah Yasharal, and I am the Mora of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Great Belief Congregation, located in South Carolina. I want you to remember here at Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Great Belief Congregation, this is the place where the Torah does the body excellent. Until next time, may Abba Yahuwah Baruch Atah and keep you in his shalom until we meet again. Also, I want you to remember the push is on, the fight is on, and the move is on. Once again, remember, you've been touched by Champion TV, a place where the champions reside. And it is so. And it is so. And it is so.
This is the place where the Torah does the body good. This is the place where the Torah does the body good. This place Torah does the body good. This place Torah does the body good. This is the place where the Torah does the body good. This is the place.